States, you can interpret that to mean national security in general. And in fact, the Israel contention does really talk about it in general. So when you get to the Japanese example, you can even turn that and argue, well, this demonstrates how the Japanese also use soft power. So, you want to have a second sheet of paper here. Because on the second sheet of paper, you're going to write down the beginning of the off-case argument. That will be its own column on the second sheet of paper. Right? Okay. So if he does on-case, you're back to what she said on her sheet of paper. If he does off-case, you're back to his sheet of paper with his column on it. Right? He will tell you where to flow. What?
I love the debate.
Now listen. Go home and sue your parents for the Florida month. Now, are you ready? Begin.
The issue that we're facing today is the proposition is it better to be feared than loved? So is it better to be feared and hated rather than loved and admired by your peers? We grant them their, first before I go into that, I'd like to extend a thank you to you, the audience, for being an adjudicator. We've never been seen for providing good case, and my partner for helping with this case. Now, we grant them their values, and we have a common definition. We agree with those. Now, I'm going to go on case directly to their first contention. The first contention is the issue between Iran and the U.S. And the second nuclear plant is built, and the B subpoint they bring up U.S. people upset because the missile system is out, and we need hard power in those countries. The C point is that currently using soft power isn't working, and putting defense in the water hasn't talked about working with Iran, but what he's neglecting is the fact that these people that we're talking to, whether it's soft power or hard power, they're not going to agree with us. Ahmadinejad is a lunatic. He's not in agreement with us at any reason or any problem. So there's no point in using soft power or hard power in that instance, and the burden for us in the round is to prove that the value of love, that love is better than or equal to fear and as opposed to national security as well or equal to is theirs. And so when they bring up the issue of Iran and the U.S., well, the fact of the matter is they don't talk to us anyway. Iran has never been talking to us whether it's soft power or it's hard power. You can't negotiate with a crazy person. You can't negotiate with somebody who doesn't want to be negotiated with. And so this entire issue is a non-unique harm when they bring this up. The viewpoint is having hard power increases national security, but like I said, there's no proof to that. Because when you falsify what I said, they don't talk to us. Ahmadinejad does not want to talk to us in the first place. Therefore, there's no point in hard power or soft power is not going to solve the trick. Therefore, hard power is not close to the value because it is not increasing national security. The second contention is the issue of the Israelis and the Palestinians. In the A subpoint they bring up, they've been using soft power and it hasn't been working and they've been hurt because of it. And in the B subpoint they say that the 22-day offensive works because they use hard power and all that kind of stuff. Their C subpoint is that national security is valued more because soft power keeps people safe, but once again, how is that linked to this? Because the fact of the matter is, the reason Israel is in such a peace that they're in is because people hate them, because they continually go on these military offensives. They use hard power too often. When you use hard power too often, you're constantly being a hard ass about every single thing you do. Nobody's going to negotiate with you anyway, so they can't use soft power or hard power. This is not open to them in the first place because of the fact that they're always going on military offensives, which is why in the Middle East they have the things that they have. That is not opposing the value of national security because by bringing up the ire of all other nations in the Middle East, they're actually causing less national security because now you have to implement all these plans in order to be safe from the rest of the world. I have to go off page now. Our first conversation. The issues between U.S. and Russian relations have been impacted by fear negatively and positively by the value of love. Our subpoint A is that the fear for the hard power since the Cold War and during the Cold War has hampered American-Russian relations. The B subpoint under this is that until backtracking on missile defense with Russia, it was unwilling to support any position that we had in Iran and increase more sanctions on Iran. The C subpoint is pulling back prompted more love, more soft power, and more negotiations between America and Russia. Therefore, we get more help on the issue of Iran and the nuclear threat. That goes directly to the value of national security because what would you rather have? We'd rather have Iran not have nuclear missiles as opposed to them getting them in the first place and not being able to solve with their arms. And so, our second conversation. The attack on Pearl Harbor came about from fear. Subpoint A, Japan feared U.S. military intervention. That's the only reason they attacked us in the first place. They feared what we might do to them. Our B subpoint, that fear led to the Pearl Harbor attack as a defensive maneuver. That was totally a defensive maneuver. That wasn't because they didn't like us or they had issues with us. They feared that we might actually get involved in this war, so they figured that preemptive strike was best. Therefore, an issue of soft power, love, opposed subpoint C, which is your relation between the U.S. and Japan, would have prevented it. Had we been using more soft power than the nation, and had we been shown to be a nation that uses soft power as opposed to intervening in military actions, hard power, we wouldn't have to have that problem in the first place. And therefore, you'll always be voting for the opposition team, Team El Camino EF, because of the reasons that our kind of intentions flow directly through the value of national security, and they, we totally refute both their contentions on Iran and the U.S. and Israel and the fact and the Palestinians. That's what we voted for the opposition team.
Okay, so in the next speech, does somebody ask some questions so they can see what they look like? Thank you. So good. Coverage is good. Do more line-by-line coverage. So instead of telling me what A, B, and C are, and then doing a response, say their A point is my first response is, my second response is, right? So that it's cool that you can repeat the same structure, but they say my response is, then they say my response is, right? But good coverage, right? I mean,
I just figured I'd be a conference.
Yeah, and know that equal thing, put it up on the criteria, right? Because that's what that wants. Cool. All right, so next speech is the member of government speech. Listen! The member of government speech gets flowed in the third column of the on-case flow. If he makes responses to off-case, it would be flowed in the second column of the off-case flow.
So the off-case only has 5, right?
That's right. Very good. Because it's initiated the first time in the light of the opposition speech. Right? Very good. I may have underestimated you. Right? So he's going off case, get that be credit already, and then he's going to go on. Nice if you do, because it tells the story like this. So that way, we're slow, we got ready? Alright, okay.
2 ships sail by at night, no lights on, they pass each other without even noticing each other. This is essentially what has happened with the round today. The value case of freedom goodness is fundamentally mishandled by the opposition team, and I'm going to show you why. Before I begin, I would like to thank my partners for helping set up the game, the opposition for presenting Clash, and to all of our audience. It's great to actually debate for more than one person. Let's get right into it. First, on counter contention number 1, which is United States-Russia relations. The 8 point here was that fear has hampered United States-Russia